Let's discuss about the demerits of globalization. In previous video we discussed about merits. Now we are talking about the demerits of globalizations. About the demerits mean to say negative impact. So bossism of the international financial institution. As a result of globalization, the financial institution like World Bank, International Monetary Fund and IMF. Previous I told you about the financial institution. World Bank, World Trade Organization and IMF. All these have established their bossism and they interfere in the process of policy making of developing country. In fact, developing country are depend on these institutions to get loan, and these institutions put unreasonable restrictions on them. Neocolonialism and dependency is promoted. The critics are of the view that the globalization is meant to move on part of developed countries to make the developing countries depend upon them and to impose their financial hegemony over them. And this way, it is the new form of colonialism, which is known as neocolonialism. Is that clear? As a result of globalization, the dependency of the developing country on developed countries is growing continuously. Next, the threat to economic and political sovereignty of the state. Here, as a result of globalization during last few years, economic and political sovereignty of the developing country has decreased, and in it, the international financial institution, the tool of developed country, have played a very negative role. Under the influence of international financial institution, the name of globalization, liberalization and privatization, the developing country of Asia, Africa and Latin America had to adopt certain policies for which they were not prepared. Setback to indigenous industry. Many critics are of the opinion that globalization has become the cause of destruction of indigenous industry. Indigenous industry cannot compete with multinational companies as they have less capital. They don't have access to developed techniques. MNC make production at a vast scale, and these can earn profit even by selling goods at low rates. So according to Indian Economic Survey of 1999 to 2000, there are about 31 lakh unit of small scale and cottage industry in India, and about 1 crore 70 lakh laborers are employed in these. Next, increase economic disparity. Due to globalization, there are of the opinion that it has increased the disparity within state and among the states. According to them, globalization promote multinational companies who want to establish their units in particular area of the state. They select the area where they get cheap land, labor, water, electricity and raw material. So they take full interest in the development of the area, as a result of which the other area remain underdeveloping. So the MNC also give high salary and other facilities and their employees, which the other industries are not in position to pay. Is that clear? So like this, as a result of this, the disparity between urban and rural area also increase. MNC keeping sending the major proportion of the profit back to their own country. As a result of this, economic disparity also keep increasing. Debt burden on developing countries. Developing countries are already under debt, but as a result of globalization, burden of debt keep growing, as a result of which they get caught into the debt trap and find difficulty to come out of it. The situation has reached so far that most of the poor countries are not even in position to return the interest of debt, and many times they have to take more loan to return even the interest of earlier debt. Double standard of developed country. So, under the grab of globalization, the double standard being adopted by the developed countries are proving harmful to the developing countries. For example, developed countries are putting pressure on developing countries to completely stop the subsidies being given by them to the agriculture sector, whereas they are not prepared to end the subsidies in their own country. Is that clear? So next, exploitative nature of MNC. Multinational companies play an important role and their basis purpose to earn maximum profit and to achieve this purpose. Everybody knows that they always want to get the maximum profit. Earlier we read about that. So to achieve this purpose, their purpose is not development of these countries. They invest maximum capital in developing countries. They get labor at cheap rate. The trade union in developing country are quite weak, which are unable to save the labor from exploitation. Next is encourage consumerism. Globalization also encouraged consumerism of the West type, of the result of which the people start spending more on luxury goods. Great extent MNC also responsible. They pay less attention towards the things of common use. Clear?